Well, hello and welcome to Hello Chaos, the unfiltered podcast for founders in the messy middle. No fairy tales here, just the real grind, the grit, and the chaos of what it takes to go out on your own and start building a business. Today we have on our show Greg Arnold. He's a keynote speaker, pro arm wrestler, which we're going to get into more, and a voice actor. And he's calling out of Ohio. Welcome to Chaos, to the Chaos, Greg.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's really, it's a pleasure to be here.
We were just saying like two Midwesterners, right? You're an Ohioan,
hmm
and yeah, I'm an Indiana, a Hoosier.
Yay for bordering states.
That's right. That's right. So just start us out. Like, what got you into starting your own company, becoming? I mean, just to jump out and going, I'm going to become a keynote speaker. How did that happen?
Okay, so I guess in terms of my entrepreneurship endeavors, it didn't really, I didn't really start off until maybe like very early to mid 2024. This was like right before I learned that my wife was pregnant. But the reason that I started is because I actually got a casting call from one of my voiceover agents that they need seat fillers for this leadership simulcast thing, and so I'm like, all right, why not? I'll just take a day off of work, because I was just like I was just like doing my day job, doing like
Right.
I mean, I'm
You're
still
like
doing my
seat
day job,
filler.
but
All right. I
yeah,
knew
it's like
that.
that's fine. I'll get paid to do it, and it was local too. So I
Right.
was like, all right, why not? So I sat there and I got the opportunity to observe the likes of world-renowned speakers, Rory Vaden, Nicole Walters, Dr. David. I can't remember his last name, but he did a speech for the Yankees. But anyway, all this to say, it inspired me, and it kind of got me to realize that they didn't necessarily have their shit together,
Right.
but before like they jumped in, and it kind of spoke to me that wow, I mean, it's like I've been depressed for a couple of decades, and I felt so timid. I never felt confident, but I feel like I'm starting to transform, and I want to do the same thing for other people that may have felt lonely like myself,
Hmm.
and so it's I started to try and learn as much as I can about the speaking industry. I invent a program called the Speaker Lab, which
Okay.
they teach you the nuances of the industry, and I actually just graduated a couple of months ago, so I've just been marketing and getting my brand out there, and just honing in on my craft, and plus I another reason why I really wanted to get into speaking is because, well, get into my own business in general is just I'm really tired of being on someone else's schedule, like the whole eight to
Yeah.
five, 5 day a week thing. And it's
Have
just
more
I
control and freedom. Yeah.
and now like that my wife and I have our baby daughter. She just turned 1. It's like I want to be able to have that financial freedom and
Hmm.
the time freedom with her and my wife, and just be able to go on like a vacation anytime at the drop of the hat, instead of just me being stuck and just trying to accommodate an employer's schedule. It's like I want to be my own boss. I know it means I have to be my own salesman and a
Right.
marketer and just wear various hats.
You
So
wear every hat when you start out.
that's kind of the gist of how I got into or how I'm getting into
Yeah.
speaking.
So doing the speaker lab, I mean, that's kind of like you're going out and going, I'm going to invest in myself, right? Like
Yes.
I'm going to invest in my future. And because those programs, they're not free and they're not cheap.
hmm Definitely not. Like
uh,
I've almost got it all paid off, actually.
yeah. When you look back on it, I mean, are you still like, this was the right path?
I do, because at the very least, it's I kind of discovered a lot about myself
Hmm.
in taking this journey, and I know that the messages that I have, should resonate with a lot of people. At the very least, even if it's just a few people, that
Right.
because what I want to do, my mission is to kind of decrease the percentage of low self-esteem, because something that I learned from the article Psychology Today is they did a global study
Hmm.
that between adolescents and younger adults, 85% of them have at some level low self-esteem, and low
Mm,
self-esteem links to like violent crime,
yeah.
high dropout rates. So like 85% have low self-esteem, and I think the other 15 is, but it's like, I know what it felt like to be in the abyss and feel absolutely hopeless
Hmm.
and just have no direction or purpose. And I just kind of want to be a little bit of a conduit, but for those that may feel like,
Well,
what the hell do I do now?
right. Or, everybody relates to people, in different aspects. So, if you're like, this was me, somebody might go, oh my God, I am like that. And,
Hmm.
and your words will resonate and have more impact than, John Maxwell, who, might be a little unrelatable
Yeah,
to
yeah.
folks.
It's like we're all a story. We're all a unique story, and
Hmm.
we may not all have the same background or the same goals, but we could always take some element of lesson and wisdom from various demographics
Right.
and kind of Frankenstein ourselves, for lack of better metaphor.
That's right. So what did you learn about yourself through the journey?
Well, I learned that I tend to look at I had used to look at confidence as a bit of a prerequisite before I took chances,
Hmm.
or before I, took a chance out there. But the reality is, it's it's like it doesn't really do us any good by just waiting until we feel ready. I mean, we've been given the preconceived notion growing up saying, oh, just wait till you feel ready, or wait till you feel more confident, just
Right.
prepare. But I find that most people, I mean, at least I did for
Yeah.
many years, but I delayed action because I always thought confidence had to come first. But
Right.
confidence shows up after that I commit to some kind of a regimen and kind of keep
Mm.
my word to myself several times. It's something that I build from actions of commitment, and from there
Yeah.
it gives my mind the evidence that I need to continue on.
Right. It's like you're getting clarity of who you are, but those disciplines and routines
Hmm.
help kind of really solidify that stuff. We all talk about, especially in founder world, entrepreneurs, we face the imposter syndrome. I think that people in corporate America like face that as they're trying to climb. I know I faced it when I started my company. I was way more confident under somebody else's brand.
Hmm.
Then when I started my company, it was like, whoa, I'm accountable and I'm responsible for everything and everybody. And I was really almost took like 10 steps back in terms of feeling confidence. And what I've learned is um, confidence always seems to lag behind competence. That people, if they feel lack of, it's not because of the lack of competence. And trying to bust that for other founders of, you got this. Like it's normal to feel that, but you've got to figure out ways of overcoming that. Get out of the comfort zone. Take bold actions and bold steps because you are more competent than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yes, that's definitely something I want to relay on everybody, be it your listeners or the people that I might be talking to at
Mm,
events in the future. But kind of going back to what you said about, well, I was confident under someone else's brand, like it was already
right.
established. It's like renting an apartment or renting a house versus building a custom house, or
Right.
yourself, like different ball games entirely. Like it's easier, but at the same time, y- you're not allowing yourself to step foot into the uncertainty, and therefore you can't grow without stepping into the uncertainty. Now, I mean,
That's right.
I do believe you should step into the uncertainty within reason. Make sure you prep as much as you can,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
just
But most of us always prep way more than we think. And then we get in there like, wow.
and then we kind of get into our own head, essentially,
Yeah.
to where it just inhibits us from taking chances. But something else I learned about myself with the speaker lab is I would always chase perfection as opposed
Mm.
to momentum. Like I always wanted to wait till like I was
Oh,
perfectly
that's
shaped
such a
for it.
good,
And
yes.
it's just, in order to master something, you got to be great at it. To be great at it, you got
Hmm.
to be good. To be good, you got to be bad at it. To be bad, you got to just do it.
Right.
And it's like, just weigh the options, take the chance, and say, okay, what exactly is the worst that can happen? Because our brains, like, I'm talking about like caveman days, but our brains are wired to protect us. Like when a caveman would walk outside, shuffling of the bushes, chances are it's not a Girl Scout, giving you cookies. Like it's a saber tooth.
Right.
But nowadays we have our brains to kind of protect us from fear of being ostracized or becoming a highlight reel of
Mm,
failure, like on video, like if you're an athlete or if you flub or forget a word. But it's like our brain may tell us to, okay, hold, hold.
right.
But then we hold for so long that we end up kind of dwelling on it, and just we eventually lose hope. And it's
Right.
like I just want to kind of elevate the courage that people have, and that they are a lot more than what,
Yeah.
like you said, that they're able to give themselves credit.
Yeah, I love what you said. Like, we try to take perfection out because that's a unattainable.
Yes.
But it's like, don't look for perfection. Think of experimentation. But I love what you said. It's like it's momentum
Yes.
of just keep moving forward, taking those even it's little baby steps forward, but don't lose that. Don't wait and stall
Yes.
out. Yeah.
I think the big problem that a lot of people have, like, whether you're an athlete or you're an entrepreneur, but we tend to, well, I just kind of lost my train of thought there, but
Well, here
well,
I'll give you
crud.
another question. You can have a. So you're new. I mean, so this is something new, like within the last year, right?
Yeah.
So here, this was like, I want to bet on myself. I'm going to invest in myself in order, like in my future, to go into this, like, building my own business, my own brand, my personal brand. What in that aspect of like looking back, and then looking into this world of entrepreneurship, were there myths, or there perceptions that you had, and now that you're in it, you're like, ooh, that is not at all what I thought it was going to be like?
I did have that realization, but it wasn't necessarily because of the program that I took. During that program, not to segue into the next facet that I'm in, but pro arm wrestling.
Okay.
When I was in the middle of my speaker lab, I was also training for this arm wrestling matchup against this guy who was literally top ranked in the state of Ohio. Like, I mean, he beat, amongst the best in the state. He beat, several good, very regionally good national caliber competitors. But he wanted to challenge me because one, my styles were very different from the typical one. I've been around the sport for about 20 years, so I guess he wanted to have that notch under his belt. Say, hey, I got the guy who's really experienced. But so, I mean, I definitely commend him for it, but he didn't need to, because on paper he was objectively like stronger than me. He had
He already
way
had the
higher
stats.
wins, so he didn't really have anything to gain by beating me. But he's still. But I mean, I commend him for it. But it was a left arm, which I'm good at it too, but I'm not as strong as my right. But it wasn't in my wheelhouse. But it forced me to train for like between 2.5 to 3 months. And I went into the training regimen. I was telling my dad he trained me for it. Like, he's a pro himself, and he's actually a legend in the
So
sport.
are you like the real life? I'm going to date myself. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but the Sylvester Stallone, like
Over
over
the
the
top.
top.
Yep.
Chandler's like, I don't know that movie. It's from 1980. It's an
Yeah,
80 something movie.
87, I
But
think. Yeah.
like, Stallone and the whatever his character, he had a son, like, that he was going to train to get into. So
Yeah, it's
was that like you and your father of getting into the um I mean, is that
kind of.
world similar to any kind of pro? Like, I mean, there's levels,
Similar.
there's payouts, all that.
It is similar, yes.
Okay.
Well, what's funny is the movie Over the Top, it was actually a real live tournament that was going on. Like, there was a real over the top tournament that the
Oh, that the filmmakers were.
producers were filming, but they would
That's crazy.
have the event stop. Like, they would film like as a montage,
Right.
what's going on, but they would stop the event so they can get the cameras like up like closer with Sylvester Stallone and the selected characters that he was going to go up against, and do all that. So, but it was fun. Like, it was actually something that lasted for like 21 hours total, like, between the filming and the actual tournament itself. Actually, I think it was more than 24 hours, the more I think about it. But anyway, all this to say, my dad was actually in that tournament, and they actually happened to catch him winning a match. He wasn't like a character, but
Right,
he
but he
was.
was like in some B-roll, the background footage
Yeah,
of that's pretty cool.
yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely a historian there. But yes, it's how he and I bond. I mean, he would occasionally compete, and like he did for a little bit, like the last few years, and kind of took another hiatus from it. But he trains me. He kind of wants to, I guess, live vicariously through me and see how
Right.
great I can be. And
But
it's
that's
good. And it's good because like it because that the pro arm wrestling is separated by weight categories, it keeps my health and exercise regimen in check.
yeah. Have you had your arm broken in any
Knock on wood, no, but
Okay. I
I
was
did.
like, because
I
that's
I
what they
think
kept showing a lot during the in the movie of
yeah, that Brazilian guy. Yeah, I
yeah,
know what
he's
you're
gonna
talking
break
about.
your arm in the arm.
You can. I mean, now when you actually like anybody that's ever interested in the sport of arm wrestling, you find a group of local pros. What they're supposed to do first and foremost is teach you how not to get hurt. How not to hurt yourself. I think when I was a little kid, I might have popped a tendon, but yeah, which that sucks too. But
Yeah.
it's uh, but I've never broken my arm, but I did break some poor guy's arm once in a tournament, and
Oh my gosh.
it's
You're
bad.
brutal, Craig. Brutal.
It's it's like my wife puts me on a high pedestal. Like, yeah, well, my husband breaks arms. like it's not something I'm really proud of. I mean, I never want that to happen.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's like you don't want to win that way anyway.
Right,
But
right. I mean, doing the pro wrestling thing, so you kind of had an aspect of a little bit of entrepreneurship. You had to in that world of like, it's still you're building your personal brand. It's just in a different aspect of
yeah, I actually
the
have a YouTube channel of my arm wrestling journey. Yeah, I've been meaning to pick that back up as well, and maybe like offer like coaching and so on and
yeah.
so forth. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so I mean, a little bit of element of entrepreneurship, but not to mention, I actually used to be in charge of administering the rankings of the state of Ohio, like
Uh,
who's ranked number one through 20 in each weight class in the state. That was definitely something fun. But
you're like that's power.
well, it's like I used to want to be like a sports analyst,
Yeah.
when I was a lot younger, and this definitely fulfilled it. And I mean, it was nice. A lot of you know, a lot of people not happy with it. But what I loved about doing it was it got people incentivized to want to get back out there and see, and kind of, uh, just kind of brush the dust off and see how far they come back and just kind of get motivated to see how high they can go and just have a,
Right.
have a threshold. And I watch people like climb up from like 18 to like 3, and it's like,
Wow. Well,
"Yeah, this
and
is
I'm
pretty
sure it's
cool."
like discipline, training,
Yes.
routine, everything that we need in business, to succeed and
Yes. Yeah. So what I like about arm wrestling, I mean, and how it links to business is that you've got to one show up always. Like if you want to be great, and you got to learn how to take losses. And it's like you either win, you either get the sale, or you learn from it, and you just kind of hone in on your craft.
so what's been the most rewarding part so far
For my
for your
speaking or for
speaking? Yeah.
Probably, I would say it's probably me just discovering so much and being able to learn a lot more about myself as well as
Mm,
others. And just because I'm not always able to articulate the challenges that I've had to endure, but there
mm,
are other people out there that are able to better verbalize and categorize, things I've gone through, like, yes, that's it, that's it.
mm.
Because even though that, like I may mean to be a successful keynote speaker, I know I don't have all my stuff in order.
Right.
I'm just I'm going out there because, well, I know I don't have things in order, but it's kind of forcing me to kind
Yeah.
of go on this journey. So I think something that's really that I really like is, like, especially in the speaker lab, there definitely is quite a bit of camaraderie in there. So
Mm,
I like the camaraderie and the networking, the people that are kind of there for one another, encouraging one another, and also giving each other a bit of kind of a reality check, like, okay, this is what you could be doing wrong, but you're doing amazing. I mean, I love I love like what they do because they emphasize just do something. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just
Right.
have something to start off with. Like, for example, they make your website and they help with your video demo.
Mm,
And so it's like you may not have like the experience, you may not have like the stage videos yet. Like if you start brand new, doesn't matter. It's like
right.
you have something, like you have some calling card. It may not be masterful, it may not be, like Van Gogh. It could be more like just a drawing on an index card, but it's something. It's like start off with something, and as you get more and more a little more prestigious gigs, you can refine
That's
your
right. You can change those photos
website.
out. You can
I
add the events that you were in, but yeah.
So I would say that, yeah, my favorite part of my journey is that there are a lot of people that want to help one another, and that's just what I want to do, and also get, make a living of it off it, but I want to be able to make a living off of me doing something that I feel good about.
Yeah. No, that's good. So, what do you do to manage stress and deal with challenges other than going and arm wrestling?
Well, it's in terms of like managing stress. I mean, I love to go running. Like we have a Siberian Husky. I love to run. I always make sure that whatever I'm stressed about, I don't let it stew like in my head. I want to verbalize it because I know that I'm pretty sure that no matter how much I have it together, how much my mindset is
Mm.
optimized, there are always going to be intrusions, that like little self doubts that are going to try and intrude in your head and try to have a cup of tea. But what you do is or what I do is you speak. You speak like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. Okay, man, like, I definitely was wrong about this. Why I feel that this was just a waste of time, stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you stew in it. If you're speaking it, you're kind of keeping it at bay because it's really hard to take something like in your brain and absorb it while you're trying to verbalize it at the same time. You're kind of conversing with yourself, or you could
Yeah,
converse it with other people. It could be your family. It could be
right.
a
You just got to
colleague.
get practice to get it out. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
So yeah, a few ways I do it is I do what I can to keep the intruders in my head from coming in. It's like I basically don't. I basically do what I can to not let them in
right,
anymore. And
right,
even
right.
then, I still don't always have it together. But man, I come so far since like the last few years. Managing stress, I always something that I always tell my wife is, I mean, she is a very dedicated stay-at-home
Mm.
mom, and bless her, she's doing amazing. But I know that she works so hard and she needs time to herself, and so I always try to encourage, like, could you just find something like once a week you can go with like your friends somewhere shopping.
Yeah,
Find something that's
you
just
need that
for you,
release. Yeah,
something that's just for you. You don't have to earn joy. You're already worthy of it.
right.
So that's I try to talk to myself the way I would with a loved one, and
Mm,
because I used to talk very horrible to myself, and it's like if you
mm,
extracted whatever my thoughts were
yeah.
in my head, you would think like, oh my god, that's abuse. So
Yeah,
it's
well, they always say, I mean, that's something that I learned much later in life than I should have. I always say when I'm much older than you, but like I say my 50, when I enter my 50s, it was like a coming of age story of things that I wish I would have learned much earlier. But yeah, the language that we tell ourselves is sometimes the most dangerous things that we have, and you know that the
yeah,
words that we choose of how we describe ourselves are the intruders. I call them these like the phantom ghosts of
yeah.
like those are dangerous,
Well, yeah,
and be
especially
very careful about those words.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like especially when you're already vulnerable and fighting depression and,
Yeah.
like suicidal ideation. It's like it's best to not let your thoughts like keep going in your head in silence. Like
Right.
you should do something. Like you should go out, like even if it's for a walk, you're talking with a friend, or kind of at least verbalizing, like how it is that you're feeling, because it's almost like watching the same exact channel on TV 24/7. If you keep watching that same channel, that's going to be all the reality that you know. But if you
Right.
broaden your channels a little bit, it's like, okay, well, I get a little bit more perspectives, and it kind of takes you off for lack of a better metaphor, but takes you off the ledge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, that's like building your community and building your circles. And yeah, the more broader it is, it's, we say like an entrepreneurship, like you need to network and you
yeah,
need to craft your circle based on energy, but also who's going to keep your momentum
yeah,
going.
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, in my journey, I still I mean, I know I still got a lot of work to do because I mean I'm still a fresh graduate, and for full transparency, I don't have an actual paid gig yet.
Yeah.
No event. But I mean, I did get to MC the event that I got to arm wrestle, or that
Oh,
I had my arm wrestling
nice.
matchup.
You
So
should
like that was paid. So that technically counts as a speaking gig, but not like from
like a
like
motivational
United Station.
speaker. Yeah.
Right, nothing like that.
So do you think through your network of arm wrestling, will you be like a motivational, so like maybe doing a warm up or something and within that same community?
That's definitely. I mean, it's definitely a great idea, and I would like to see that. It's just I myself have never really was offered like the opportunities. It didn't really dawn on me that I guess you can do that too. Like have some kind of a seminar for people
Right.
that want to get into it. I now that you mention it, the last few years we have a couple of guys on our arm wrestling club that actually ran a charity event
Mm,
for arm wrestling. So for all the entry fees, 100% of it went towards a local kid fighting cancer.
wow.
So then, they had like the parents come over, like we give them like a big plaque, and all the proceeds, we would have like several thousand
Right.
dollars go to like their medical bills. Like it was something really nice. Anyway, I got to announce a kind of run the brackets, be like, all right, Michael versus, Daniel, table two, 176 class.
Right.
So it definitely was good getting me to, kind of loosen up,
Right.
my
Getting
speaking, and
practice.
be, people keep saying I've got a good podcast voice. So it's,
Yeah, you do.
but I think it's just a good mic.
That's right. So if you looked at your journey, I mean, which is fascinating, of you have really been an entrepreneur just in two different aspects of from arm wrestling, now evolving into professional
Speaking,
speaking
yeah,
and doing keynotes, motivational speaking. What word describes your journey?
I think roller coaster because like it definitely is not going to be all highs. I mean, progress is not meant to be or stay linear.
Yeah.
But the key to becoming successful is you stay consistent, because
Hmm.
commitment to me is the bridge between your intention and your transformation.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So
Um,
I would say roller
yeah.
coaster because I had so many lows. They go like, man, I'm never gonna grasp this. Like I'm always gonna be
Yeah.
disappointment. I'm always gonna be like an embarrassment. But then I would have some highs, like, oh wow, like I didn't expect to have like these opportunities. I didn't expect to
Right.
do as well as I did. So it was a lot of me trying to learn how to regulate myself emotionally and to prep myself
To manage the
for
expectations. Yeah.
entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
even then, like we're all gonna take losses, but
Oh, yeah.
but all that counts is when you get that win, it makes the losses, you kind of forget about the
Right.
losses. Something that I it dawned on me yesterday. I think the guy's name is like Rod Crew, but I think I believe he's the one that has like the highest percentage batting average of all time in baseball,
Okay.
and it was like just barely at 400, which means 4 out of 10 times he would get a hit. Therefore, 6 out of 10 times he would not. Like he would
Right.
be dragging his bat back to the dugout. But he was considered the best. So it's a numbers game. It is a
Yeah.
timing game with everything. I mean, you're going to take more rejections or
Right.
losses before you start gathering the wins, because once you get a win and get like and you start to compile them,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't. All that
And
matters is
nobody's
your
keeping
trajectory.
score like on that. And two, I think what we've, talking to so many founders and entrepreneurs, winning is different for everybody.
Yes.
How,
Interim.
eh, you know what I mean? It's like, and I think sometimes what gets in our way when we coach, small, especially CEOs and small businesses, it's a natural tendency to want to compare ourselves to others,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's other founders or, business competitors. And it's like, focus on your strengths.
Yes.
No, be aware of what they're doing, but also you don't know the inside of their world. So don't try to figure out their strat and copy it because you don't know it. So
Not only that, but
like
you are
chasing
the
a
only you.
competitor is just dangerous.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it does, because you are the only you. So use that. I mean, people can emulate you, but they're not going to ever authentically be you. That especially goes with like voice acting. I mean,
Oh yeah.
but something I just remember what I was gonna say when I lost
Yeah.
my train of thought earlier. But I think we entrepreneurs, what we forget is, or what we tend to do is, we look at the destination,
Yeah.
and if we're not there by this time, we get so
Right.
discouraged. But what we forget is we can't expect to, like if we're climbing a ladder and we go to like we're trying to go on top of a 3-story building. How do we expect to go from one rung to like the 50th rung?
Right.
It's like we can't fly up there. We try and then we end up falling, and they're like, "Man, Joe, why did I do that?" But it makes you think, okay, well, maybe I need to go on a lower rung first and
Right.
just
Or to
climb
manage
up
the expectations of it is
instead
hard
of
work. And because I think there's like a myth out there of like, I mean, we've seen it from you. If I build it, I'll go from 0 to 1 million in a year, and I can,
yeah.
or go to 0 to 3 million, and I'll sell it for 10 billion. And it's like, yeah, those are rare birds. Like
It,
when you see those stories, those are unicorns. That is not the
yeah.
99% of business ownership and entrepreneurship. And so, kind of like really understand who you are, your market, your category, and manage and regulate those expectations so
Mhm.
that you don't get so disappointed of I failed. It's like, no, you didn't. You grew 10%,
Mhm.
but I heard that I should have, like, don't compare.
It doesn't
You
matter what
only
you.
have yourself to compare to. You like, regulate that.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's and I love the roller coaster analogy that we hear that from founders. I know I felt it of it is. There's a lot of ups
Yeah.
and downs are, and they are extreme. It's like way ups, and it's, way downs. When we hit bottom, sometimes we hit bottom. But I think
Right.
sometimes we also forget to celebrate the smallest of wins.
Yes. Yeah, the interim goals,
Yeah.
basically. Like, you have your main goal. Like, my main goal is to be able to do speaking full time and be able to quit my day job. I mean, and just be able to have all that freedom
Yeah.
and just feel good about what I'm doing. And I guess, I mean, I'm probably the last person that should be giving advice to entrepreneurs, as like, I haven't really taken that dive yet. I mean, I'll admit it, but something that I've learned from, either arm wrestling or
Hmm.
voice acting, and why I'm feeling good taking this chance, like, just kind of slowly building up. But I guess the key line to try and, I guess, land with this is, you don't need confidence in order to start. You just need commitment, like discipline.
And
Like,
discipline.
pick
That's right.
pick pick repeatable action that you are able to commit to at the moment. Maybe you are balancing jobs. Maybe
Mm.
some entrepreneurs are still balancing a day job and priorities, like with kids. But it's like, pick a repeatable action that you could commit to, even if it's like uncomfortable. Actually, if it's uncomfortable, it's good, because that's room for growth. What that consistency does is, it's building evidence for your brain, and that
Mm.
evidence eventually becomes confidence,
Yeah.
because like you can then compile a whole story and be able to articulate and
That's
launch from
right.
there.
That's right. So if we look ahead to your next chapter in your journey, what word do you want to describe that chapter?
Scale. I would
Mm.
say scale, because I not only do I want to get up on stage, but I am in the process of trying to I'm making like an outline for like an ebook that
Mm.
that could give people, or an ebook of a framework that I've designed to kind of help people rewrite their story and live their best
Mm.
life, from like forgiving yourself, internal validations, gratitude,
Yeah.
having fun. And so that's kind of what I'm working on, because I know that at least in the speaking industry, anybody that's like an author, they're kind of looked at as, I guess, a figure of authority, if you
Mm,
will, because
yeah.
like they have expertise, they have a product of expertise that they're able to then sell. I mean, at least that's what I've learned. And my
Yeah.
father, who's been a business owner for 30 years, he's like, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's good. Like it's when it comes to being a leader, a CEO, always be receptive to learning something new. Like
That's
don't
right.
ever assume that you
It's
know everything.
it's continuous learning.
The best thing you could do is listen, because when we listen, we're able to learn like what we're listening to. We speak when we are applying knowledge that we already have.
Hmm. Yeah. I think some of the best CEOs and leaders are ones that are, check their ego. They're more humble. They're
Mhm.
open to learn, to listen, to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're going to manifest. If we meet next year, if I come up to Ohio next spring, what are we celebrating? What
Uh
win are we celebrating?
maybe an Ohio State national championship.
Oh, there will be no more the Ohio State. No, I'm just kidding.
But talking about next year, I would hope to have at least a few speaking gigs, and
Paid
obviously have
speaking gigs.
paid speaking gigs. Yes, sorry,
There we go.
paid speaking gigs. Something like between 35 to 5 grand, a pop.
Yeah.
That I'm aiming for. And so I don't know. Like it's a very very good question, but I would say next year that my wife and I, are like that she's comfortable enough for me to kind of take the leap, within
Mm,
reason to, give this business a
right.
chance, and of course have a few number of speaking gigs and saving up,
Yeah.
and just being able to live off of that
I do
while
the
I'm still
leap.
building up. Like I'm trying to build a clientele now and in a building phase, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many paid speaking gigs I get from now to next year.
All right. We're manifesting it for you, Greg. We're
Thank
putting
you.
it out there. So, what's the lasting piece of advice that either you've received or maybe things that you've learned through the speaker lab that you feel like other founders or entrepreneurs you know, would want to hear?
On the given that the subject is about chaos, if there's one thing that I would love to relay, it's chaos is not a sign that you're doing something wrong, but it's a sign that you're doing something new. And
Oh,
if
that's a
you're
good one.
if you're willing to stay present and you just really take stock in the work that you've done, like market and just reflect on it, stay consistent inside the chaos, and eventually clarity is going to show up.
That's right. That's right. Ooh, that's a good soundbite there, Greg. Thank you very much. I appreciate hanging out with us today, and I
Of
loved hearing
course.
your story, and I can't wait to follow your journey even further. But before we go, where can people connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, and support you?
Yeah, you can find me on my website, gregarnoldspeaks.com. There's a contact form on my email, or you can just email me at gregarnoldspeaks.com. Furthermore, you can find me on socials, Instagram.com/GArnoldVO, VO like as in voiceover.
Voiceover.
And then you can find me linkedin.com/IN/GregArnoldVO.
Nice. Awesome. And we'll tag you and everything when we drop the episode. But
Looking
again,
forward
thanks
to it.
for being on. And that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you found yourself kind of nodding along, laughing, and going, Greg, I feel you. Can't wait to see you. Leave us that 5-star review on Spotify, or you can dig deeper into founder resources. We've got tons of tools and more episodes over at Orange Whip. That's orangewip.com. So until next time, stay curious, stay scrappy, and remember, we are all a WIP, a work in progress. See you again next week.